What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers played the Miami Dolphins yesterday in an AFC wildcard playoff matchup, and if you guys watched the game, you know how it turned out. I've been doing Steeler reviews all season long from Steeler fan perspective. Just giving my take on each game, and I will do the same here for the playoffs. It's worth noting, I did post my AFC and my NFC playoff predictions in two different videos. They both are on my channel, so you can pause this and go check those out if you like. I've got one for the AFC, one for the NFC, breaking down each playoff game and predicting who I think is going to win. It's worth noting this past weekend there were 4 games. I was 4 out of 4. I predicted all 4 correctly, so I have not lost a prediction yet. Much like with these Steelers, I predicted 7 weeks ago in the regular season they would go 7-0 and they would win this playoff game. So for playoff predictions, I'm 4-0. For Steeler predictions, I'm 8 of my last 8. I'm proud to say that. So once again, if you guys watched the game, you know how it turned out. The Steelers beat the Dolphins 30-12 in a very easy, kind of a humdrum, kind of a lazy game. Looking very good doing so in the first 3 quarters and kind of just leaning back in the fourth quarter. But a very, very good, fun, active game for the Steelers. This was never in doubt. Pittsburgh came out and scored, I think, 3 touchdowns on their first 3 drives, just back to back to back. I think it was Brown, Bell. 3 quick touchdowns, 2 through the air, 1 through the ground. And that was pretty much all she wrote. The Dolphins had 2 early punts. I think they did answer with 2 field goals for the Steelers' 3 touchdowns. So the game was pretty much 21-6 before really anything happened. The game was pretty much over before it started. The Dolphins came into this game with Matt Moore at quarterback. Ryan Tannehill was injured, and that was a big deal. Starting a playoff game with your backup quarterback, as Pittsburgh knows very well, is very, very tough. This was actually the first time they said that Ben, Brown, and Bell have ever played together in a playoff game. We've never seen all 3 of these guys together on the field. This was actually Le'Veon Bell's first ever playoff appearance. He's been injured going into every playoff game that he's played in his career so far, that he's been on the team in his career so far. So this was the first time we had Bell on the field for the playoffs, and boy, did it make a huge difference. What a game for Le'Veon Bell. He's the MVP of this team. He's the MVP of this game. He went nuts today, just for a stat line. He had 2 catches for 7 or 8 yards, but he also had, I'm looking at my stats here, he had 26 carries for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ridiculous. His starting and stopping, his cuts, his footwork in the holes, his patience, following his blockers, waiting for his blocks to set up. Just like I said in the regular season, ridiculous. He has a bit of Eric Dickerson to him. He's got a bit of Barry Sanders with his footwork. He's got some Emmitt Smith with his vision. He's got so many pieces of such great running backs of the past. And him being on the field was just such a big deal today. Breaking tackles, even setting up blocks for Ben. Everything Bell did was just on fire today. Actually didn't get very involved in the passing game and didn't need to. This game was pretty much, like I said, sewed up. The game was broken wide open by 2 short passes to Antonio Brown, which he turned into long plays by breaking tackles and really not even being touched. He was thrown, one was a quick slant where he just broke it downfield for a long touchdown run, and the other was an outside screen. It was a bubble screen. It was like a 2-yard pass that Brown turned into a 40-yard scamper down the sidelines. And that was pretty much all she wrote. After that, we just sort of used Le'Veon Bell to milk the clock, and he did more than milk the clock. He ran for a ton of first downs. He was just making a ton of plays. And to the defense's credit, it was, like I said, it was 21-6, like mid-second quarter, and the game was pretty much over. Miami couldn't overcome that because the defense played very, very well in this game. They did allow 1 late touchdown in the, I think, the fourth quarter. Because by that point, again, the game was pretty much already over. The Miami Dolphins had 2 field goals until the fourth, and then they did score in the fourth quarter on a touchdown when the defense was sleeping. But all in all, 12 points allowed. Very good job by the defense. Offensively for Miami, there wasn't much to speak of. Jay Ajayi, who was trash talking this week, who had over 200 yards against us in week 6 or 7, wound up, I think, with like 12 carries for 24 yards. I think he had just over, I think, 2.1 yards per carry. I had like 24, 26 yards in this game. Was totally bottled up, had nowhere to go. Was stacked up. Linebackers got plenty of penetration. The line played pretty well overall. The front 7 just got in the backfield, stayed on Matt Moore. And Moore was just thrown off from the beginning. The cold weather was too much for them. The big stage was too much for Matt Moore. Receiving-wise, they did get some pretty good totals because, again, this was mostly like late third and early fourth quarter work. The Dolphins did get some numbers toward the end of the game. Jarvis Landry, 11 catches for like 102 yards, I believe. Deion Sims, I think, scored the touchdown, I'm pretty sure, for the Dolphins. Kenny Stills, I think, had like 5 catches for 82 yards, something like that. Devontae Parker, I think, had 55, 60 yards as well. So they racked up some late yardage on the secondary, but again, not too much. Offensive stat-wise for the Steelers, Big Ben didn't need to do much. It's sort of turning back into that same offense that it was when Ben was a younger player. Just running the ball, protecting Ben with the line, being conservative on offense, and letting our two playmakers in Bell and Brown just sort of break it open. Big Ben was 13 of 18, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns to Antonio Brown both, and 2 interceptions, which were 2 bad throws. One was just a bad read early on, and the one in the fourth quarter was just a bad forced pick that Ben was trying to make a play on. And there should have been a third pass that was intercepted, but it was tipped out of the guy's hand, and Jesse James caught it on a miraculous play. So Ben, 13 of 18, 197, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Le'Veon Bell again, 26 carries, 167. Rushing and 2 touchdowns. Antonio Brown, 5 catches, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think most, if not all, of that was in the first half. I think he only had 1 or 2 catches in the entire second half, but it didn't matter. The game was already sort of over. The defense held stout the entire time until the fourth, and the offense just sort of ran the clock. Besides Brown's 5 for 124, no receivers did much of anything in this game. Jesse had the 1 tipped catch. DeMarcus Ayers did have 2 nice catches for 24 yards, plus a third one that was called back. He was probably the second best receiver in this game. Getting playing time for him was nice. Sammy Coates did not play, but I think Kobe Hamilton had 1 catch. Darius Hayward-Bay, I think, had 1 catch. Eli Rogers had 1 catch, and I think that was really it. I mean, no one really did much else, but the three big guys, Brown and Bell well over 100, and then Roethlisberger doing his thing. Defensively, we had a couple guys stand out. Lawrence Timmons, 8 tackles in this game, led the team once again, was all over the place. Also 2 sacks in this game, was constantly in the backfield, getting pressure, keeping Matt Moore on his back foot, keeping him scared the entire time. James Harrison, huge game. I was wearing my James Harrison jersey proudly, and he did me proud, man. 6 tackles, second on the team in tackles, a sack and a half, as well as a forced fumble. So all kind of pressure, creating turnovers, jumping on the ball. Stephon Tuitt got off the edge well. I think he had 4 or 5 tackles. He also had a fumble recovery. Walton, the LT Walton, the backup linebacker, also got a fumble recovery as well. Ryan Shazier played very well in this game. He was another guy getting off the field, making a ton of tackles on the running back. Had 5 tackles plus an interception. It is his, I think, 3rd consecutive game now with an interception. He had 2 to end the regular season games, plus a forced fumble against Cleveland. He had the big interception against Baltimore, the fumble against Cleveland, and now he got an interception in this game as well. So just huge stuff. Timmons, Harrison, Shazier, Tuitt all played well. Artie Burns played pretty solid at the corner spot. Sean Davis, who I like, played pretty well at safety. Bud Dupree coming back in continues to make a bit of an impact on his return. I've said his name like 4 or 5 games in a row now. He had 3 tackles, half a sack as well, plus a massive hit. If you guys saw the game, you know what I'm talking about. Had a huge hit on Matt Moore that took him out of the game for a play. It was one of the hardest hits that I've seen the entire season. Didn't get any credit for that on the stat sheet, but what a massive hit. Big energetic thing that fired up the defense. So Bud Dupree is another marketable no name here, playing well. So the defense holds tight. Only 2 field goals allowed for the entire first 3 quarters, plus the 1 late touchdown. And again, Ben, Bell, and Brown, the 3 Bs, just doing what they got to do. Ben managing the game, Brown breaking short plays into long plays, and Le'Veon Bell just wearing them down, making them miss tackles, tiring them out. That formula is playing very, very well for us. I think more of the same in Kansas City. I predicted a win last week. I'm predicting a win this week. I think Kansas City is a much better team now because it is on to Kansas City. The AFC finals now are Patriots versus Texans, which should be a blowout in favor of the Patriots, and Pittsburgh going to Kansas City. Playing on the road is tough for us, and they do have guys at the running back spot that are hard to tackle, like Spencer Ware, and guys like that are hard to cover at tight end, which has been a kryptonite of ours in Travis Kelce. Plus, we're playing in Kansas City, and they're a much better team than they were in week 3 or 4 when we killed them the first time. So we're going to see a very good game team, much better defense, more conservative quarterback play, not creating as many turnovers. It's going to be a much closer, tighter game this week with Kansas City, but I think Pittsburgh is too much offense for the KC defense. I can't see them being able to stay with Antonio Brown. And if they do, I could see our other younger guys breaking through and making some plays. And defensively, I don't know if Alex Smith can lead the team to score enough points to keep up with us. I think Pittsburgh can put up 28 points in this game, and I'm not sure that Kansas City can with Alex Smith and there being a game manager. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win this game and go to the AFC title game against Tom Brady in 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes. But what do you guys think of this game? Who stood out to you on offense and defense? Who deserves some mentions in here? And how awesome am I for calling all those playoff games and Steeler games correctly? And what do you guys think about next week with Kansas City hosting Pittsburgh in the playoffs? Tell me in the comments down below. Until next time, guys, this has been Football Focus. Tune back in this week. I have a wrestling news video coming out. I have I'm doing the Psycho franchise, rating the 4 movies and ranking those. I'm doing a couple other things. I'm doing something with Girl Meets World, a TV show, this week as well. I've got all kind of different coverage coming. I have more poetry coming, wrestling, football, movies, all kind of content. So check that out later this week. And tell me in the comments down below what you thought of this game. Until then, guys, it's been Football Focus. Go Steelers. I will see y'all soon.